Hey, I'm Kennedy, and I'm the unofficial mayor of Old Metairie. Do you love real estate? So do I. That's why I do it for a living. So let's talk about the title of the video, All Roads Lead to Old Metairie. We're going to get to the meaning of that later on, but first, I just want to talk to you about maybe you're relocating to New Orleans, or maybe you're moving from another place in the city, and there comes the question, where am I going to live? And right now we're going to examine why a lot of people choose Old Metairie. So Old Metairie is, I would call it a hamlet. It's not a town. It's a part of Metairie, but the two things are very starkly contrasted. Old Metairie is different than New Metairie. New Metairie, aka Metairie, is a place where they have big box stores and a lot of ranch homes from the 60s, 70s, 80s, fewer trees. Old Metairie is a place with gigantic oaks, older big trees, lots of charming old houses, and a ton of history, hence the old. Old Metairie is the oldest place in Jefferson Parish. It's one of the older places in the metro area. It borders Orleans Parish, and a lot of what you find in Old Metairie you could also find around the City Park area or Mid City. As far as architecture goes, walkability, and the amount of shops and cafes and restaurants and bars and things to do. It's so walkable, in fact, that there is a bike path, a walking path that goes all the way from Metairie Road to Lake Pontchartrain, which is a new feature that really enhances this neighborhood, and a lot of people enjoy it. There is plenty of nice crosswalks on Metairie Road, because at a lot of places around Metairie Road you'll have businesses and restaurants on both sides of the street, or places where people will shop and go across back and forth. Metairie Road also has a parade for St. Patrick's Day. There's a St. Patrick's Day run. That's a 2-miler that goes from Gennaro's Bar to Winston's Pub. It's an English pub in Old Metairie. Both of those places are really cool places to grab a drink. Gennaro's has a lot of history with the Irish American and Italian American community. They also have a really cool karaoke night, and I think it might be the oldest bar in Jefferson Parish. Like I said before, Old Metairie borders Orleans Parish, and the word Metairie is actually it's like a kind of mutation from an old French word that doesn't exist anymore, that's pronounced like moitié or moitié, and the word means one half, because the French landowners would have tenants that were sharecroppers, and the tenants for rent would give half of the crops to the landowner. So that one half is what Metairie actually means. So Metairie, the loose interpretation of what Metairie is farm, because that's what it was until, with the exception of Metairie Road that was developed for over 100 years, a lot of the rest of Metairie was just farmland. And an interesting other piece of history is the reason why Metairie is unincorporated and not actually a town, and that's why I call it a hamlet or a village, is because of a illegal gambling that they wanted to preserve at gambling houses on Metairie Road. So they wanted to not have the local government of a town. It was a town for a brief period in the early 1900s, for, I don't know, a decade or so that they could get public services like gas and electricity. And then as soon as they got it, they got rid of the incorporation of the town so that they could have their gambling. And just like all things in New Orleans, there's all this like little fun underbelly story of it. And also the unintended cool thing about not being incorporated is that you don't have a city tax. So whereas a place like another charming, cool old place like Old Gretna, you have the Jefferson Parish tax, the state tax, and then you also have the city tax of Gretna. In Old Metairie, there is no city tax because it's not technically a city or a town. Still, a lot of people find that they enjoy living here, and the old part of it shines through in the history. So a lot of people don't know this either. In the 1910s, there was a streetcar line down Metairie Road that was a continuation of the Blue Line, which came from uptown Napoleon Avenue. And so the Blue Line streetcar track is the namesake of Blue Line Sandwich Company, which is a very cool cafe that is a breakfast spot in Old Metairie. There used to be a cool movie theater called the Grand, which is now the Little Red Schoolhouse. There was a drive-in movie theater that is across from Old Metairie Village, which is now a neighborhood called Delamont. There was a Greyhound racing track on Metairie Road. There still exists a post office. There's still a UPS store. There's still all the cafes, bars, boutiques, coffee shops, pho, sushi, all the cool stuff. An awesome farmer's market on Metairie Road. So you still have all these cool little towny things, this neighborhoody feeling here in Old Metairie, but you're saving money on taxes, you're saving money likely on insurance, and you also have an awesome library. You also have excellent government response, better roads and infrastructure, and you have the thing that everybody wants, which is the trees and the charming old houses and the coolness that you would have in some other neighborhoods, but you're getting it at what I consider a great value. In this, I would call it quiet. It's quieter than somewhere like the Bywater, but it still has a lot of great attributes that make it a desirable place for a lot of people to choose as the place that they call home. So that's why, figuratively, all roads lead to Old Metairie. But also, here's another little flip side of it, is that all roads lead to Metairie geographically, because Old Metairie is extremely convenient. You can get to the airport in 15 minutes, you can get to the Superdome in 12 minutes, you can get anywhere very easily, very conveniently, and if you lived at a place, say like Magazine or Tchoupitoulas and Nashville Avenue, you would be similarly in the heart of a neighborhoody community. However, it would take you forever to get anywhere. It would take you a long time to get downtown going down Magazine. It would take you a long time to get to the suburbs to go to Home Depot. So for these reasons, all roads lead to Old Metairie. I'll be talking more about this and other neighborhoods in future videos. And if I can help you in any way, buying, selling, investing, hit me up, kennedyprop.com. Until then, it's the unofficial mayor of Old Metairie, Kennedy. See you next time.